What's up, guys? The UFC Fight Night, headlined by Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong, just wrapped up. And man, what a wild card. Nearly every single fight ended in a finish. I mean, this was easily one of the most stacked fight nights we've had in a long time. Top to bottom, this card delivered. The main event might not have had the perfect ending, but the action throughout was insane. Honestly, I'd give the event a solid 8 out of 10. And it could have been even higher if the main event wrapped up clean. But with that said, UFC 313 might be looking just as good, if not better. Let's start with that main event song, Yadong versus Henry Cejudo. Yadong poked his way to a win, quite literally. This is like the second time we've seen a weird result come from an eye poke lately after Chris Weidman's win over Bruno Silva, where a big eye poke came right before the finish. Now we get Song Yadong winning a decision, and it's clear that first eye poke changed the dynamic of the fight. If Henry had just told the doctor he couldn't see during that first break, it would have been ruled a no contest. And even when Bruce Buffer read the scorecards, you could see on Henry's face he looked surprised. The 30-27 score shocked him, like he really thought he was still in the fight. And honestly, Song Yadong was clearly winning. I wouldn't have scored it 29-28 like one of the judges did to me. It was a clean 30-27, even if Jason Herzog deducted a point for the eye poke, which he probably should have. Song still would have won. There are just way too many fights where the fighter who lands an eye poke ends up benefiting with no real consequences. Let's be real. Eye pokes are becoming one of the most effective illegal techniques in MMA, simply because referees don't enforce them. When's the last time you saw a point taken for an eye poke? Maybe Cesar Almeida's fight, where he poked a guy like 5 times before finally getting a deduction. It makes no sense. But looking past that, Song was landing some solid shots, especially the leg kicks. Cejudo was landing them too. But in that third round, Song clearly started to take over. Henry began to slow down, and honestly, if the fight went 2 rounds 4 and 5, it might have turned one-sided. That's the direction it was heading. I still think Song probably wins that fight, even without the eye poke, unless Cejudo managed to land a big knockout shot. But Henry did show some good adjustments, especially in round 2, when he switched to southpaw and started jabbing more off his lead hand. We've seen him adapt mid-fight before, against Moraes, against Demetrius Johnson, and he showed flashes of that here too. Now, there's talk of a possible rematch. Both fighters seem to want it, but I don't know how competitive it'll be next time. If it happens, I'll watch. But personally, I'd rather see Song Yadong fight the winner of Corey Sandhagen versus Davison Figueiredo. As for Henry Cejudo, give him Mario Bautista next. That'd be a good rebound test. Moving down the card, Anthony Hernandez versus Brendan Allen was absolutely insane. One of the best grappling fights we've ever seen at middleweight. The scrambles, reversals, choke attempts, non-stop action. Every exchange felt like someone was about to win the fight. Allen would take the back, then Hernandez reverses into a choke of his own back and forth the entire time. But overall, Hernandez was the better grappler. Definitely a fight worth rewatching. Next, for Hernandez. And for Allen, maybe match him up with a winner of Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze. Then we had Rob Font taking a close but deserved decision over John Matsumoto. I said it before, Font is not a stepping stone. He beat Adrian Yannis, Kyler Phillips, and now Matsumoto. Great fight, with Font landing clean jabs and slicing elbows, even cutting Matsumoto with an upper elbow. Matsumoto did get a bunch of takedowns, but didn't do much with them, and Font's guillotine attempt made me nervous. But he still did enough in the striking to take the win. This was a clear example of damage mattering more than control. Johnny Silva, man, this guy is different. He absolutely obliterated Melquizel Costa in round 1. And Costa's a legit striker who's never been knocked out in MMA. But Silva just iced him with precision. Left hook, right straight, as Costa tried to angle out, lights out. And then the ref just lets it continue for way too long. Silva even landed 12-6 elbows. Wild. Give this guy a top 15 opponent next. Maybe Edson Barboza or Don Ige. Either would be fireworks. Mansur Abdul Malik got a TKO over Ludovic Klein in round 2. But Klein nearly pulled off a huge upset with that spinning elbow. Rocked Mansur bad. But credit to Abdul Malik. His takedown defense held up, and once he got on top, he finished strong. Still undefeated and looking like a future top 10 guy. Alonzo Menefield versus Julius Walker was the first decision of the night. And it was in the heavyweight division. Go figure. But how anyone gave that fight 30-27 for Walker makes no sense. Walker wanted the clinch and the takedown, but Menefield stuffed most of them and landed the heavier shots. Sloppy fight. Both guys gassed, but Menefield did enough to win. Ion Cutelaba beat Ovince St. Preux in maybe his most composed performance ever. No wild brawling, he showed real fight IQ, mixing in takedowns, controlling the pace, and snatching up that arm triangle finish. Best post-fight interview of his career, 2. Maybe the start of a new run. Then Andre Fiallo dives headfirst into a guillotine against Gabriel Costa. The fight was fairly even up until that point. Both guys landing kicks, clean counters. But then Fiallo shoots in, gives up the neck once, escapes, and then goes right back in and gives it up again. No attempt to escape. No fight. It was like he gave up. Really disappointing. Ricky Simon came out blonde and went Super Saiyan on Javid Basharat. Left hook, right straight, boom. Basharat looked sharp early. Great counters, good movement, but Ricky timed one exchange perfectly, and that was it. Massive win for Simon, snapped his losing streak. And maybe he should keep the blonde hair going forward. Austin Vanderford makes his UFC debut and dominates TKO over Nikolai Veretennikov in round 2 with relentless ground and pound. Just sat there, taking shots, did nothing to escape. And then has the nerve to complain and shove Vanderford after the fight. That guy is not fighting in the UFC again. Nolan Rabo gets a clean TKO win over Eric McConaughey. Honestly, McConaughey barely did anything. He landed 16 strikes the entire fight, while Rabo landed over 40. Rocked him, finished him, easy work, and finally, Modestas Bukauskas scores a brutal knockout over Seekong Foss. Left hook against defense, full power combinations, shut the lights out. Foss had some good straight punches early, but once Bukauskas landed clean, it was over. So that wraps up the card. One of the best fight nights in recent memory finishes. Everywhere, breakout performances, and a few controversial moments that'll definitely be talked about this week. What do you guys think? What would you rate this card out of 10? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for notifications. I'll see you guys in the next one.